You're listening to the 5-Minute Friday podcast episode of The Aligned Self. This is your host, Daniel J-No-V. Okay, 5-Minute Friday, a short and concise podcast episode of The Aligned Self, designed to leave you with a question, an idea, a strategy, a tip, a hack, in order to give you greater access to your conscious awareness, evolving your conscious awareness, or give you greater mastery over your mind. Well, my friend, this past week I admit that I have not posted anything new. It wasn't intentional, but it turned out to be a pause for the cause. This past week has been energetically off the charts, at least for me. And for several other people, it's been a time of great introspection and investigation, internal work, I guess you could say. Also, on Tuesday, my wife and I completed on, I guess you could call it a project that we've been working on for the past 3 years. I can't really go into details, but let's call it a legal conversation, which on one hand is an end of a chapter and then the beginning of a new one. So I guess if you go back to episode 33, if you haven't yet listened to it on how to rock a new chapter, that's kind of where I am. I'm just taking an assessment of what has happened. Where are we? How's the year gone? Even though I did this just 2-3 weeks ago, I'm doing it again. Now, just like life, you can declare a new beginning at any point, whether it's been a week, 2 weeks, tomorrow. When things shift, when things have changed, and some of the rules have changed for me and my wife and our family, and we're taking a look at what we need to do going forward. Now, for me and the show, this next weekend, I'm going to be taking a look at the roster for the next month and a half. I'll be kicking off the next session of the Aligned Self coaching program, the 12-week deep dive in self-identity, self-concept, and aligning your heart, your mind, and your body in a congruent expression into the world. Now, I'll be opening up enrollment after the 1st of August, so this next few weeks I'm going to be talking a lot about self-concept, self-identity, and its role in manifesting, in inventing your life, living the created life. Who am I? Daniel J-No-V. I'm totally invented. You could look at who I am today and who I was as a teen or in my 20s, and it's not foreseeable. It wasn't foreseeable back then that I would be at this point in my life. Now, in addition to the Aligned Self program starting on August 20th, I'm re-releasing my courses, the Unified Mind, A Course in Mind Mastery, and the Intuition course August 1st. And both those courses will be open for enrollment. But on the podcast, other topics that we'll be exploring aside from self-concept, self-identity, is we'll do a deeper dive into manifesting. We're going to talk about discernment, developing the skill of detecting bullshit. Discernment is a powerful, intuitive skill that is valuable and integral in developing conscious awareness, which in my mind is the purpose of this spiritual adventure, bringing the unconscious into consciousness so you can make conscious choices about who you want to be, who you choose to be, and who you declare yourself in relationship to God, Goddess, all that is. That is part of the spiritual adventure. So I could go on and on about all the topics that lie ahead. In fact, I have a list that I've compiled of over 200 topics that for podcast episodes. And to be honest, since starting this, I have actually not referred to the list hardly at all. Episodes that have come up from listener questions from those of you that are in our Facebook group or that have messaged me personally. And there's still 3 or 4 of those that I'll be talking about in greater depth, greater detail, basically how we create and attract certain circumstances in our life from a life contract point of view. Not necessarily from, well, we'll talk about it from the manifesting, from an intention and how we begin to attract things. But the question was oriented around kind of a life contract. Coming here, and what did we intend to learn? Why did we pick the parents we picked? Why did we pick the circumstances in our life? What does it all mean? And then we'll talk about past lives and what does that mean about this life. We'll talk about the law of karma and how it's only in place because you choose it to be in place. It's not a real thing. What, you say? I thought I've been playing out this karma malarkey the whole time. You mean I didn't have to? I don't have to do it? No, you can declare yourself free of karma once and for all. Now, it takes some inner work in there, but you can do it. Along that same theme, we'll talk about probable realities and multiple timelines. So like I said in the very first episode, we're going to investigate the esoteric, we're going to investigate the practical, the magical and the mystical, along with the scientific. So this 5-Minute Friday really wasn't much of an education, but it was just me sharing where I was, where I am at this point in time, and what lies ahead, the adventure that lies ahead. I'm so thankful that you are part of the listenership and part of the community. And it is with deep love and respect that is behind everything that I do on this podcast. And I want to say thank you for those of you that have reached out before, early on, and just recently, telling me how the different episodes have been impacting your life. It's meaningful to me to know that the concepts and the ideas that I'm sharing are assisting you in healing, releasing, and expanding your conscious awareness. I'm here for you. And if you haven't already done so, you're invited to join our Facebook group, the Aligned Self Podcast Listeners group, Facebook group. Join there. Tell me that you heard about the Facebook group on the podcast. If you're enjoying the episodes, if you get value out of it, share it with your friends. Do them a favor. I mean, don't hog it all for yourself. If you're getting value out of it, share the wealth. And thank you to those of you that have been doing that. Our listenership is growing. We're just coming up on 10,000 total downloads since I started this in April, which is phenomenal for a podcast. I'm so excited. Even though my motivation was never to reach the masses, I just want to reach the right people, kindred spirits, people that are embracing this conversation of personal growth, personal expansion, and spiritual possibilities. Okay, well, I've rambled on long enough for this Friday. This is Daniel Desnovis, urging you, commanding you, inviting you to follow your bliss and live the epic life.